was really interesting because in Israel, it's a bunch of museums and all the sites are kind of behind glass and ropes. But in Turkey, a lot of them are out in the wilderness. And so you're climbing on them, you're running around in tombs, and you really do feel like Indiana Jones. And that really excited me. That's my favorite film series. And then I also learned that Mark Fairchild is like a real Indiana Jones, and he explores Turkey every summer, and he's done that for 2 decades.
When I saw the documentary, it completely shocked me, was because I'm a minister's son. I always thought it took place in Israel.
Yep.
Me too.
Same here.
I felt so dumbfounded by it. I'm like, what? What do you mean? It's all in Turkey? It's all in Turkey? Like, why then have we been led to believe that it's all in Israel?
All right, welcome back, everybody, to YHEA FOO NAFOO. I am Gelindo Foo, and I've got a couple people here. One person you already know, this Foo.
What up, fools?
All right, and then we've got a special guest today. We've got Logan Bush. He's a filmmaker, a documentarian. And, say hello.
Hi, I'm Logan. Thanks for having me on.
That's for sure.
That's right, people. We are actually getting real guests. I know this is the second filmmaker. Can you believe it, Gelindo?
Yeah, man. Yeah, it was awesome when I found this out. Well, I got to give a little bit of a history here or a backstory so that people know. Logan's father and I went to college together. So that's how I know about Logan. And what's crazy is that Logan is going to be telling us about, there's a couple of reasons he's here, is because he's already shot one documentary and he's getting ready to shoot another one, but he needs some funding. He needs help from our Gelindo and Foo listeners out there to go to his GoFundMe page, which we'll wind up posting. And he needs some money to go and get this second documentary done, which we really are excited to see it get done, because the first one was so informative and was so much information there that it was really,
it was daunting. It kind of changes your perspective on what you thought you. Well, if you thought you knew something, you were like, oh, I guess I didn't really know that much.
And just Logan, just give a quick overview of what your first documentary is about.
Sure. So the history there was, in college, I went on a Holy Land tour to Israel and Turkey, and it was led by this guy named Dr. Mark Fairchild. And what surprised me was I didn't really know anything about Turkey. And we went there, and it was really amazing. It's a huge country, and I didn't know that the majority of Paul's travels were in Turkey, as were the 7 churches of Revelation and a bunch of other history too, like the Trojan War and you name it. It was all there. And it was really interesting because in Israel, it's a bunch of museums and all the sites are kind of behind glass and ropes. But in Turkey, a lot of them are out in the wilderness. And so you're climbing on them, you're running around in tombs, and you really do feel like Indiana Jones. And that really excited me. That's my favorite film series. And then I also learned that Mark Fairchild is like a real Indiana Jones, and he explores Turkey every summer, and he's done that for 2 decades.
And Mark is the host of the documentary,
right? And what's
the name of the film? The
first film's called The Last Apostle, about Paul. And Dr. Fairchild was so interesting to me that I had to make a documentary about him before someone else did. And so that's the short story of how I wound up following him around Turkey with a camera.
Now, Logan, I don't know all your background necessarily, but did you follow the Bible prior to this? Were you a Christian or following the Bible? And the only reason why I ask is because I'm a minister's son, and I never knew. I felt that's why when I saw the documentary, it completely shocked me, was because I'm a minister's son, and I talk about that a lot here. And I never knew that Paul, which is what those of you that don't know, there's 2 books to the Bible, the Old Testament and New Testament. And Paul is basically the author of what we would call the New Testament. And the letters to to Romans and Corinthians and Act. All that is his wording. So I always thought it took place in Israel.
Yep.
Me too.
Same here.
And I felt, I'm 30, 53, and I felt like I felt so dumbfounded by it. I'm like, what? What do you mean? It's all in Turkey? It's all in Turkey? Like, why then have we been led to believe that it's all in Israel? Like, I thought of my father, I thought of my pastors, I thought of my youth, everyone. And I was like, how did I get this far in my faith or in Christianity and not ever come to this conclusion, or no one ever pulled me aside and be like, hey, did you know that it started in Turkey?
Not even a hint. Not even just like a little like, oh yeah, Turkey. Yeah, I remember hearing something about none at all.
Is that your background as well, Logan?
Yeah, almost a mirror image. I'm a pastor's kid. I transferred from Southern Illinois University, where Gelindo
Go Salukis, yes!
Yeah. And after that experience, I went the opposite direction to Huntington University, which is a small Christian school. So I think there's a bunch of reasons why we don't know all that history. One reason is the church is really bad at teaching its own history. It just kind of skips from Jesus to maybe Martin Luther to now, really, and we really don't teach it at all. Which is a shame.
It is a real shame. I was telling Gelindo here, I was like, it shocked me. I talked about your films for so long and it still shocks me because I was telling him, I was like, I was part of Church on the Way, followers of the way. And a lot of the ministry of it was the road to Damascus, and we're like the Christians of Damascus. That's what we were taught. We were the Christians and to not find out until decades later that Damascus is in Turkey and that road starts there. I was like, this whole time, that church should be sending pilgrimages to Turkey.
Yeah, the road to Damascus.
Right.
That's just when you think of Paul, that's what you think of, the road to Damascus. And I just always thought it was somewhere near Jerusalem where Jesus was born.
I don't know why.
Where he was preaching, not born.
And Tarsus is in Turkey too.
Right.
Where Paul's from. Christianity was legalized in Turkey. Emperor Constantine made it illegal to kill Christians. And then eventually it became a Christian empire later. But that's the first place where it was allowed to exist legally. So a lot of history there.
There is tons of history there for the church to, at least for the Christian faith, to be like, we should relook at Turkey itself. Like I said, your documentary was extremely, extremely, extremely educated. It dropped me. And not a lot, because I hate to say it, but my arrogance regarding Christian religion and faith, because I grew up with it, I kind of like, it's like, oh, okay, we're going to talk about Paul. I'm sure I know. Yes. And then the moment it starts, I'm like, what? No. I was like, this can't possibly be. But I was like, no, it's all true.
Yeah. And even if you're not a Christian, or if you are a Christian, or, if you don't read the Bible that much, it's still, it's geared towards anybody that is interested.
That's even a history buff in the history that, all the history that it has.
You're going to know what we're talking about. When you're watching it, you're going to be familiar with Paul. Everybody, I think, is familiar with it, and just the stuff that he's talking about, because he does explain the things that he's looking for, and the way that he goes out exploring and looking for all of these artifacts. He is Indiana Jones.
Yeah, it's a fascinating documentary. It's a fascinating you feel like you're there with him, and it's funny how you were able to cut not just him, but Paul in it in a way where you feel like, where he's talking about, where Mark and Luke decide to go back to Jerusalem, and he's like, no, we're going to go up that mountain and face the ex-pirates that are now robbers, and you see that mountain and you're like,
oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
I forgot about the pirates.
Yeah, you're like,
you got everything.
Yeah, and it puts the element of what Paul did kind of like in your face, and being like, what would you do? Would you go with Luke and Mark and be like, yeah, no, I think it's enough to
fight pirates?
Yeah, this is kind of like this is where my stop ends.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Right, exactly.
The same word for robber and thief is also pirate.
It's also pirate. Yeah, it's in there. Yeah, exactly. Like I said, I was really blown away by it. I highly recommend it for anyone that thinks like, oh, I might know, even some Greek or Roman or Christian or Jewish faith, and you think you know it all, and you skip over. No one talks about Turkey in those terms. It's a Passover.
And the documentary puts you in, like you feel like you're there. That's what I really liked about this documentary, was that from the beginning, it was like, so here's what we're going to go and do. Whereas most documentaries are just kind of giving you the information, where it's almost like, we're going to be your tour guide and we're going to show you where we're going and explaining it, like we're 5-year-olds, which I like, so that I understand what we're doing, and having the maps and keep explaining. It was really well done. And every time that he was bringing it up, saying, yeah, this is where Paul, what he must have been thinking when he was walking, and, and because he wasn't taking an Uber.
Right. The Roman, you see the Roman road, and you're like, oh, this is the road. It shocked me. It shocked me. It was a really, really, really well done. Good job, Logan. It was really well done.
Yeah.
Well, thanks a lot.
I told Logan, I said, when I saw his name up there, I was just like, I was so happy for him, because that's such a huge, huge thing. There's so many people that talk about doing stuff, but not executing it. So
yeah, and not just
not a small feat that you did. That's huge, man. So
yeah, congratulations. How long did it take you?
I was there for 3 weeks shooting it, and then I went back and I edited it for 2.5 years.
Wow.
So
how big was your crew?
It was me and my friend.
Wow, just two?
2-man crew.
A 2-man crew. Then there was Dr. Fairchild, and then we had some guides that you see in the film that went throughout the country.
Right.
And then afterwards, I edited it. I got a guy to compose it, and then I had a few other people work on graphics and little jobs here and there. But it took so long because it was mostly me putting it together.
Right. And you also have a full-time job and a family.
Yeah. So it was long.
Good.
Just did it in my off time.
And more on the technical side of how many cameras did you have?
We had two main cameras. They were like kind of Sony TV field cameras, but then I also had a Canon 5D Mark III. And then we had a couple minor other little cameras too, like an Osmo. I don't know if you've heard of those, but it's like a glide cam. It's just a tiny thing.
Okay.
We used a lot.
All right. And what about the drone shots?
Well, I paid for those.
Okay. Yeah. That's good.
But this time,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
This time we're bringing our own drone for the next film.
So, and I'm always curious about this with documentaries, and so you'll be able to answer this question. So, like when the Dr. Indiana Jones is, what's his name again? It's Mark Fairchild. So when he, like, there's the one part where you're at an excavation point and he comes walking through the doorway. Are you running up ahead, or after you kind of go and look there, and then you go, hey, Mark, can you go and kind of come through here I need to get this shot, so you're producing it that way? Yeah.
Most of the time I'm running ahead of him. There are a few times where I just asked him to redo it, but I wanted
the shot.
Yeah, I wanted it to feel as natural as I could. I didn't want to like fake any shots. But
yeah, it totally did. I just was like going, I wonder how did he go and do that? You know, because you don't know where he's going.
No, it's like chasing a mountain goat. He's really agile and fast.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, the stuff that he was doing, hiking around, and he's, how old is he?
He's probably 65 at the time.
Okay.
But he's in better shape than any of us younger guys were.
It sure looked like it.
Yeah. How much time was in pre-production? Like other than, you came up with this idea. You're like, I want to go and do this. But what was involved, or what was a big obstacle for you for pre-production? That's really what I want to know. The logistics of it.
Just paying for travel, seeing if we were even allowed to film there. And he works with a really good tour company called Tutku Tours, and he always goes through them. And they set up a few things with us. Like we had a very generalized letter of permission that we could film there, but it was just general. Like you're allowed to be in Turkey and film. It wasn't true for per site. So every once in a while we got kicked out of a site because we didn't have per site permissions. But, most of the time you're just in the wilderness and you don't really need a permit.
Was it scary? Because I know just going into another state.
Yeah, exactly. I was about to say.
There's a lot of U.S. cities that I'm more afraid of than Turkey. I'll say that.
Okay, all right. That's well said.
Well, it seemed like the people in there were very friendly. Like it came across because Foo said, he wants to go visit Turkey. And I was like, I'd go and check out Turkey. This seems like a really cool place to go.
I'd really recommend it. People would invite us into their homes and we couldn't even talk to each other, but they were just so friendly that they offered us tea. And they're definitely some of the friendliest people I've ever met anywhere.
I've always thought... Go ahead. Sorry.
I meant to answer the original question about pre-production. It was, we decided to officially do it in January, and then we were there by May. So it was a really quick moving thing. And it's not as official as it would seem. We really just grabbed cameras and chased him around. So that lended to the expediency of it all, as we just kind of did it.
Did you have a plan as to that you wanted to tell the story of Paul prior to?
Yeah, we tossed that around for a long time. Really, I just wanted to make a movie about Fairchild. I wanted to make a documentary of what would it be like to follow Indiana Jones around. And the more we talked about it, the more I thought that it would be too scatterbrained to just follow him around and see what he does, because he does go out for months in the wilderness. And so I thought it would be good to follow Paul's first missionary journey as sort of the spine of our film. That way you have a beginning and an end that you're going to get to eventually. And then in between all that, you can go and have side adventures and talk about Fairchild and his life, but you kind of always know the path that you're on. So that was my idea.
That was really well thought.
Yep.
Thanks.
Yeah. That's what the thing that I loved was that, you had the beginning, the middle, the end. And then also I got to know more about Mark.
We had probably 100 hours of footage at least. And then the first cut was 3 hours long. And so I already cut an hour out of it. And it's still kind of a long documentary at 2 hours. So there's a lot.
It moves.
It moves. Yeah. I was just going to say it wasn't.
It moves. There's a lot. It's a lot of information to digest. It's a lot to be like, I can't, like I said, for me, it was just constantly that I can't believe I don't know this. I didn't know, how they're going to not know that all the churches were right here, that he's writing to these churches here. In my mind, it was always, I don't know why I had always thought that he was walking. I knew that he was walking to Rome. I always knew he was walking to Rome. But in my mind, he's walking to Rome from Israel.
Yeah, he just takes a boat from Israel to Rome. But
it's not that way. It was so it changes your perspective. Yeah. That's what your documentary does. It changes your perspective on Paul and his bravery and what he's doing. It changes that walk of faith. It really does put that whole you walking in faith into real perspective, because you see his journey. You're just like, this is kind of crazy. This is kind of crazy that you're planning to go this route. That's why it makes it so. Yeah, that's why when Mark and John say, "No, we're out," you're kind of like, only an insane person is going to continue to do that walk. You're risking life. You're literally risking life and limb. This is where we stop.
Yeah, and he died doing it. He either died in prison or being executed. He was pretty crazy in his own way. And
it's like I said, that I never in my years of being a Christian, my life of being a Christian, I never I guess I never had the respect for Paul as I should. After I saw your documentary, it made me look at him really, really differently, because I was like, wow, he did this. From there, I always thought it was a flat road. That's what I thought. It was a flat road. You know what I mean? You hear about the Roman road and you're just like, okay, the Romans made this road to conquer. Yeah, sure. He walked it right back and used it as the internet. And then you find out there's a little bit more to it.
And then how about the fact that the roads were built?
Yeah.
And they're still there.
And they're still there. Like, I thought it was just like a dirt path, not an actual road that was gone and built there.
Yeah, it was good at it. Now, did you stay when you stayed in the wilderness? Because it seemed like, you know, you guys were far out. It wasn't like, it made it seem like the hotel wasn't like, you know, 20 minutes the other way, and he was out for hours. Did you guys have to end up camping around, or? No,
I'd like to say we did, but we usually got to a hotel by the end of the day. But it might be an all-day trip. Like sometimes it really was to the top of a mountain and then all the way back down. And you'd get to a hotel really late at night. But it is really remote out there for sure. Like it's like when you go to Yosemite and maybe do a 12-hour hike, but at the end of the day, you still get to go home usually.
Right. Yeah, that's kind of like what it appeared. It was just like, I was like, oh, I wonder if these guys had to stay. Because he says it, well, Fairchild says it in the doc. He's like, I get up early and I stay out all day, all night if I have to. And I don't come back. Yeah. And I was just like, oh, so that means
a lot of people don't like to travel with him.
Yeah.
He's just, all he's doing is eating a granola bar and he's got his water and that's it. And we're going, people.
Nonstop.
There's no restaurants where we were. I mean, not in the middle of the day, maybe at night when we got back. But yeah, you got to pack your lunch.
The other thing in the documentary with him there was one of the locals that was telling him about this new site that he never heard of, which was really cool. And I'm not going to ruin it because I want people to go and watch it. But it was like, holy cow, we're going to go and discover a new site that he doesn't even know about. So we get to go exploring with you to go and find this. And that must have been pretty exciting. Like you're going, oh my gosh, we're going to go and discover these things. Because Fairchild even talks about how he would just go and take all these pictures of everything and be sending them to, I don't know, was it Christian historians or that were documenting it and didn't even know that any of this stuff existed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that was really cool. So you guys were out there discovering things. Was that the only thing that you guys discovered that was new, or as you were doing it, was there a bunch of other stuff that he'd be like, oh wow, yeah, I never knew this was here? That one thing, the one where you guys were, and I don't remember what it was. I should have taken better notes, but where was it a synagogue that was down like in a basement or something? There was there's the oldest synagogue in the world that he discovered, but then there's something in a cistern or something. I don't know if that's what you're talking about. There's like a boat carving
there's the boat as well.
I don't know. I can't remember all of them. There were like dozens of sites. Some of them I had to cut out of the film. But yeah, the one that we discovered that you see in the film, that was the only one I remember that he had no idea about before.
Okay.
And I was really hoping that would happen, and I'm glad it did, because you can't really plan to discover something, you know.
Right.
Some things we did discover, though, was like archaeological destruction. Like when the Roman road is all torn up, that was new for him, which he finds that every year that he comes back is something's been destroyed by people.
Yeah, the people that were digging, looking for artifacts or something, or
just they think gold will be under there or something.
Yeah, that was sad to see. Now,
is the government of Turkey, because it's mostly a Muslim-based government, are they like, this documentary is going to make more, I mean, like me, I'd rather go to Turkey now than I would rather go to Israel to visit the sites, just to walk down just to say I walked down the Damascus road. I mean, just that would be something that I would want to do.
Especially right now.
Right. Well, I'm just saying in general, though, that's what I would like to do. I'm just like, but in my back of my mind, I'm like, does the government of Turkey, the way it's leaning, is it going to be conducive to that, to the church being like, all right, let's try to save these sites, because I think in the documentary you guys are trying to find the first church. I don't know I forget if you guys found the first church.
The Council of Nicaea, the underwater one.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. He just came out with a book about that, and we're going to go to that site in the next documentary. But that's that's what I'm saying, where I'm like, all right, that's something that definitely the Christian church should try to. It's the first church. I mean, how are you not going to try to save basically? It. Yeah. So in general, Turkey's like 99% Muslim. They care about their own history a lot.
Right.
And so they're not always concerned if, I don't know, something in the middle of a field gets destroyed. But if it's a big site like Ephesus or Laodicea, there's some really big sites that bring in a lot of tourism. And so those sites have guards and they're going to be protected. But there's so much out there that number one, there's not enough resources to dig them up, to protect them. So there's all these sites that are in danger on some level. And there are challenges. Turkey does need tourism. It's a poor country. There's also challenges there's some churches I've been at, like the Hagia Sophia, which was a museum for a long time. It used to be a church. It was one of the oldest churches in the world. And that's been converted into a mosque recently. So you can still visit it, but the hours are limited. So there's always change happening in Turkey. Turkey's always been a crossroads of civilization. So there's always change there. So we don't know what the future looks like, but it's really unexcavated. So there's always going to be a lot of archaeological interest there. Even university students coming from all over the world just to study there and to dig up things. So it kind of depends on the site, and it kind of depends who calls the shots per site. And there's a lot of discussion within Turkey about, which way is it going to go? And it's hard to say exactly, but there are major Christian, Jewish, and Muslim influences in that world. So,
because as I was watching it, especially when you guys were in the wilderness, I don't know if I saw a documentary about it or if I saw a movie about it, or if it was at the museum where I remember seeing Getty just take walls from Persia to save the art. Now later it got called something else, but looking back at it, because I think it might have been at the museum itself. My wife and I went to the Getty, and she looked at the walls that they have there of I forget what castle or what, and she's like, "Where did all this come from?" And I'm like, "From it says there, Iran." And she's like, "Isn't this Iran's?" I'm like, "Well, there's two ways you can look at it. It is, but it's here and it's safe, or you leave it there and it gets destroyed. So where do you want to keep it? Who gets this? Is part of human, culture and who we are as a race, as a species. Right. It's here and it's safe, and we all get to see it. But yes, it does belong back in Iran or wherever, Iraq, wherever he grabbed it from." But as I was watching your documentary, and that sarcophagus, that one
sarcophagus, or
that was damaged, I was like, why not just buy that and get that to a museum ASAP instead of it letting it sit there into the rain, soot, mud, winter. I was like, that's just gonna fall. It's gonna fall apart.
Well, that was all of those. A lot of those.
Exactly.
It's like a yard sale. They don't have enough storage.
It was very eye opening to see and to be like, shouldn't we try
right. Well, and that's where we come into his second film that he's making, because that's really right. Is that what's your second film? What do you want? Have you already decided what that is going to be, or are you still in the process of your? So tell us about that one. What's your second film?
Yeah, so I'll probably be filming it in April, which is like 2 months. It's going really quickly, but it's all about archaeological destruction and all of the dangers that face these sites. So there's a bunch of categories of them. There's natural disasters, earthquake and wind and rain. There's grave robbers in the black market. There's terrorism, which Turkey hasn't had a lot of that, but there's been sites like in Iran, I think, that have had terrorists like ISIS were blowing up these sites for a long time, or they were going into museums and smashing them. They're a little more protected in Turkey, but Turkey also borders a bunch of other different countries. They've had a huge influx of migrants, I think from Syria, but I'd have to double check, but they've taken in a lot. So there's always movements of people. And then there's the cultural changes. There are churches that I don't know if I can go into anymore just because they're off limits to me. So it's changing really rapidly. And that kind of compelled me to want to make another documentary, is thinking about all those sites that are lost every year, or even that Roman road that you saw in the documentary that just got bulldozed because somebody was looking for gold. And so we want to spread awareness. And I mean, just like you said, you weren't aware that all this history took place in Turkey, and neither was I. And I think kind of that's the church's fault for not teaching us all of our own history, because it's our collective history, even though it's in another country.
Yeah,
and a lot of it's getting destroyed or smuggled out. And so the documentary is going to dive really deep into all of those ongoing changes, and hopefully we can maybe bring more attention to it and stop the destruction.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, because it's sad.
Yeah, so-
It was sad. That portion, like the excitement of it, and then there was the little truth of it, of the sadness, and you're just like, it's all gonna it dawns on you, like, I just discovered this, and it could all disappear. You know what I mean? It's like you just found this out, and now you're like, now I'm against the clock to go see it before it just gets washed away.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, the coral reef, it's going to be gone. What?
Right.
But this is even worse, because it just could, just go and you've already seen it, and you will just go and disappear. Well, that's what we want. We'll put it on the Instagram site, and we'll, the GoFundMe page, and also his website that for the film itself. So you can either donate through GoFundMe, you can donate through Venmo, you can donate through the church, and then there was, I think, and then send a check.
PayPal, or you can send me a check.
Yeah, but we'll get all the information out there for sure, showing, because his film is on Amazon Prime, the first documentary, so you can see it there, and that'll get you motivated to go and
The Last Apostle.
Yeah.
The Last Apostle. Logan, what did your dad think about, since your dad's a minister, when he saw this? Was he shocked?
He liked it a lot.
Were you like, how come you didn't tell me?
I didn't confront him, but now he's to his credit, he's into biblical history a lot. And I remember having books on the shelf that I'd flip through that had pictures of artifacts and maps, but it's even the information we have, it's always still on Israel. So if you pull up the Bible Atlas is still going to be majority focused on Israel, even though half of the New Testament takes place in Turkey.
That's what's so shocking. It's just shock. I still can't get over it.
But that's kind of why I made the documentary, because I felt like I could be a real explorer, and I was dumbfounded by not knowing any of this, and so I thought it would be a good topic.
Yeah, it's a great topic.
Yeah, it's a great topic. It was very informative. It was very well done. And I want to see the second one. So
yeah, I'm really definitely want to see the second one. I
want to get people to go and
fund that, because it's for an amazing cause, just the educational purpose. And if it comes up with awareness of saving some of those sites, or saving some of that history, it's definitely worth it. Even if we have to buy some of that Roman road.
Right.
That's right.
How long did this pre-production take? Are you guys, you said you're starting, but how long did it take for you guys to get, is it still going to be only you and your friend going, you and one more other person being in your crew?
2-man crew?
Well, he might go. I'm not sure yet. My wife has been begging me to go for a long time, and so I'm training her on a camera, and so she's going to do it too.
Okay.
And she really helped with the documentary. In post-production, she can pick apart plot holes and do that, find things that I can't find. So she's really good when it comes to that sort of information. So she was even behind the scenes in the first one.
Okay.
And it's been something I've been in pre-production for a long time thinking about it. And I really just started in the last 6 months, really putting it together and talking with Fairchild, and it's really just determining what sites do we want to go to, because we could be there for a year filming things, because there's so much.
Right.
So we're just narrowing down sites. It'll be a 2-week trip, and we've got a few sites that we are definitely going to go visit. And they're going to be good ones.
Now, Logan, I'm going to ask you because we are, we're in the business, and our channel kind of like, or at least I like to think that our little podcast here, it gives a little word of inspiration for all these struggling artists out there. What would you say for these people that want to try to do something but keep running into that Mark and Luke problem, and they say, this is as far as I'm going. Mm-hmm. Because you said that it took you a while to do this, and here you are ready to go again.
There's a lot of cliched advice I could give, like, I don't know. At the end of the day, though, you just have to want to have a completed project, and that's why I just had to do it myself, and I wanted a film more than anything else. And so sometimes there are concessions to be made, and sometimes there's compromise. But a lot of people might get hung up on the fact that maybe they want to rent like a really expensive Red camera, so it's professional or whatever. But they might just not be able to afford it, or they might go into debt doing that, and it still looks crappy at the end of the day. So I don't know. If you really want to make something, then just shoot it on your iPhone. And I think that at the end of the day, if I was forced to do that, I still would. I'd still shoot it on an iPhone and go to Turkey. But I can do more than that. I have some decent cameras myself, but I would just say make a project that you want to see and you're happy with at the end of the day. Because I don't want to be insulting to other people, but they don't want to make a project at the end of the day. They just want to talk about it, or they want to make excuses for not having it done. But you kind of have to just do it regardless, even if nobody else sees it. So I'm making this film because it's an urgent matter, and because I want my kids to be able to pass that down. And even if they're the only people that like it, then at least I'll have created something. And that's what I've always believed. At the end of the day, it's always better to create than to not create.
That's really well said. Better to create than to create an excuse, right? I think that's yeah, because it's true. People create lots of excuses and aren't doing as much as they should be doing when they say they want to do something, and you're like, well, why aren't you doing it? Right. I said something. I was like, writers write, filmmakers make films. And people just kind of looked at me. I'm like, so if you're a writer, you should be writing. If you're a filmmaker, you should be working on something. And if you're not,
if you're a podcaster, you should be podcasting. Right? Well, it's true. I mean, because we wound up doing it, and Christian and I've told them, I said, if one person, one family member listens and gives me, I'm not looking for a comment, but if he gets entertained, that's cool. That's it.
Right.
Because we enjoy doing this because we get to learn from you. You're teaching us. Right. And that's the really cool thing. We get to meet interesting people and get different perspective. And
I'm just starting to see the more I have creative people on and I come to that question that they just say, just do it. It just comes to the same answer. Like I can't give you any words of encouragement or any words of a halftime speech. The only thing I got to tell you is if you want to do it, you just got to do it, whether it's with an iPhone or your Betamac or whatever. If you're going to do it, you're going to do it.
Yeah, it's the same thing with in the acting world. When I was doing acting classes, and I went to this breakfast speaker, and Mario Van Peebles was there. And that one of the things, which all the my acting instructor said it to everybody in acting says this, but Mario Van Peebles said, if you want to act, he goes, you got to make your own project. No, that's just that we're still here. He said, you just got to go and make your own project. And that's how he started out, where he just went and shot his first film, because he couldn't wait for somebody to give him that role that he wanted. Otherwise, he was just going to get typecast into whatever. So, yeah, you just have to go and just do.
Yeah, and if anything, your documentary is very inspirational. This was your first one, right?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it's a big task. It was where I was like, wow, I'm like, this guy just went out there and went to another country, following this guy around. I'm like, that's kind of intense. Like, I had put you a little bit more in the camping situation in my head, but it's all right.
There were other challenges. I'll say though that I have years of doing really short films, and I did 5-minute documentaries. And so that's a huge part of it too, is just do it every day. And in some sense, it's not that much bigger of a deal to go from 5 minutes to 2 hours, because I already know how to edit and do all that. It just takes long. It's longer. But one of the motivating factors for making the first one was I was living in Los Angeles, and I kept running into people that were working in Hollywood, but regretted their lives. They'd spent 8 or 10 years working for a studio, and they told me they didn't know where their life had gone and they hadn't done anything that they valued. And so I figured I could either do that.
That sounds appealing.
I could either regret a decade or two of my life, or I could at least try to have a film at the end of the day.
Right.
And it's not perfect, but I have a film, and I don't know anybody else. I know very few people my age that have a full film that they can say they made. And that's, to me, that's what I was going for, So I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah, dude, I'm a big fan. Big fan. I'm a big supporter of this next project of yours. I'm a believer that that's going to be great.
Well, thank you.
We're going to want to get definitely get the word out there. I want to try and get as many people to become aware of it, but more importantly, get some do-re-mi in your pocket to help you out with this. One of the other things I was thinking about is how was the food out there?
Yes,
it was really good and really cheap, and a lot of meat. And I don't like vegetables, so I had a lot of meat. And so it's really good.
Gelindo.
They don't have a lot of plant-based diets.
They might, but Gelindo, when you're out there hiking the trails of the Roman road.
Well, I saw that in the documentary. Whenever wherever he was taking them to eat, and they just had slabs of meat on a spear spinning around, eating off that meat. He's laughing because I try to go plant-based, and I'm always telling him about the environment and the so we try to be more green and everything, and he's just
I try every day,
and I'm trying to protect his daughter's future on the planet. So
do you want a documentary recommendation for that?
Yes,
sure.
It's called Sacred Cow, and it's about why beef is the best food for the planet.
Oh, really?
This is the opposite view. Wow, Sacred Cow. I'm gonna have to watch. Now we're gonna have to have the discussion here, because Mr. Green over here has constantly been giving me from
all the documentaries and information I got, Brother
Anthony has come through, and
we can't pretend that we've got global warming and that stuff is happening.
Yeah, all those. Go ahead. I was going to talk about the documentary, but it's not even my documentary.
No, by all means.
All the plant-based foods are, they're farmed by big diesel combines and things. It's all the factory farming, but cows are really good for the environment, and they regenerate the grass. And
for the amount of trees and everything that you've got to go and cut down in order to go and feed those cows. And if you watch any of these other documentaries, and I can't think of them off the top of my head because I'm old, but it winds up being that you're using more resource in producing less. Whereas with that resource of all the oats and everything that you're feeding to these animals, you could just be feeding the rest of the world on a plant-based diet.
Well, now we're going to have to watch Sacred Cow.
We'll watch Sacred Cow. We'll go and discuss it. I'll ask Brother Anthony to check that out too.
Well, Brother Anthony is another adventure.
Brother Anthony. He's got a PhD in biology, or a doctorate, I should say, not even and so he's all about plant-based dieting, and he's a vegan, and he's saving the world. He wants to save the planet for everybody, which is really cool. And right now he's in Africa, and he just sent a bunch of pictures. He adopted some baby elephants and zebras and rhinoceroses. And so, he's out there and he's sending me pictures from Africa. And of course, there's a zebras out in the middle of the jungle or wherever he was at in the plains. But
seeing your documentary and seeing Brother Anthony's trip to Africa, I'm like, what am I doing, dude? I'm just sitting.
Yeah, I've got an excuse. I had shoulder surgery in my bicep. 2 years fake hand.
I got no excuse. I'm over here just being a dad, and obviously it's not stopping Logan.
Yeah. Logan's got 2 kids.
Yeah, he's got.
Logan's taking both of his little girls to Turkey.
I'm just holding the boom.
One arm, his wife's got the other kid under the other arm, and he's just out shooting. Daddy's working.
They're going to carry equipment for me.
Yeah, I was going to ask Logan, that cove that they had Caesar in. Was that like always? Was that like a lucky find, or was that like he goes there?
I don't remember, but we told him to stop because we wanted to swim. I don't know if it was planned, but I looked it up later, and then there was some legend about Caesar or whoever it was.
Caesar being captured and taken to that cove, and I was like, the cove itself. I was like, oh my god, what a unbelievable place, and to see like no one there. There was no one there. That's
a lot of Turkey. Yeah.
Going back to what you were talking about earlier, when you were shooting, and you said sometimes because your permit didn't allow you to shoot everywhere, and when they would kick you out, who was kicking you out? Did they have the police or
no? Usually just security guards that want to have some authority. They're probably it'd be like a mall cop kind of thing.
All right.
I don't know. A lot of times our guide would argue with them in Turkish and go back and forth, and I don't know what they said. Sometimes we were allowed to stay. Sometimes they had to kind of kick us out, and then sometimes that's when I got my smaller camera and just pretend to be a tourist and film things anyway. So
the bigger cameras were drawing more attention, that people were saying, "Oh, what are you doing?" Yeah, that's the same thing here in LA, that if you're shooting a independent project, that if the police come by, what are you doing? You go, oh, I'm doing a photo shoot. Then they don't care. Because your camera looks like a regular camera, so they think it's a still camera.
Yep.
And then you can get away with it sometimes.
Yep. But we didn't have too much trouble.
Okay. And everybody was, and like you said, everybody was really friendly for the most part.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well, I can't wait to see the next project. We're definitely gonna put your the PayPal on our website, on our Instagram, and the GoFundMe, and see if we can generate you some Doremi like Gelindo said. I can't wait to see this next project. I mean, it sounds like it's going to be just as eye-opening as the first.
Right.
And I'm very, very thankful for you coming on. I think it was, I want everyone to go. If you guys haven't seen The Last Apostle, it's on Amazon now. Go check it out. It will change your perspective a little bit on history and Turkey itself, because we never hear here in America about Turkey to begin with at all.
Yeah.
You would not know that there were pirates in Turkey. You would not know Rome. All of it is right there. The gates of it, all of civilization right there. And we just kind of skipped right through it. I don't know how that happens, but his documentary definitely opens your eyes to that portion of history that we should all be aware of, and somehow we skipped.
Right.
So thank you, Logan, for coming on, dude.
Yeah, appreciate it. And when you finish your second one, definitely reach out to us. Or even after you get back from shooting it and you need to, by all means, we'd love to hear some of your adventures, even though you're not done with the film, but it'll just generate some excitement for people to go and want to see the second one. That would be cool. We'd love to hear from you again. Or if there's anything that we can do to go and help you out somehow, reach out. Let us know.
Thanks.
But,
I'm glad you liked it, and the next film is really important. I think there's a mission behind it, which is saving history. So I do tell people every donation you're going to get a download to the film, and you help preserve history. So there's some meaning behind it. So I appreciate you having me on.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. All right.
Thank you, Logan, and we be chicka chicka out.